Hi, I'm Sion from Packraft Europe. Today we have with us the 2025 Alpacka Raft Mage. Yeah, we have the Whitewater Deck version here, and we have the Self-Bailer. We're going to do a head-to-head comparison today to find out which boat is right for you. So if you want to find out some more information about the Alpacka Raft Mage, head on over to Packraft Europe's webpage to check out the boat. There you can order it. You can see what colors are available as well. We do have a limited availability of stock coming in for the season, so you want to make sure you get yours booked right away. Make sure you get one for yourself. This boat is epic, and yeah, you are absolutely gonna love it. There's also more information in the description. All right, so what's new for 2025? So, we can see here we have a longer boat profile in the Mage, yeah? So we have a longer length and a little bit of a narrower width. You can also see that the Mage has taken some of the rocker profile from the Valkyrie. You know what Alpacka Raft's doing? They are constantly innovating, refining, searching for the best paddling boat. Yeah, that unicorn. And they're learning all the time, and they're putting all of the technology and all of everything they learn into these new boats. So we have some of the Valkyrie bow, the Valkyrie rocker profile in here, and also we have a little bit of stern rocker in here as well. That combined with a longer boat makes for a much faster boat. Those of you that have been paddling the Narwhal or the Wolverine from previous years, you're gonna get in the Mage, Self-Bailer or Whitewater Deck, and this thing is gonna feel like a race car. It is so much faster. An amazing boat. Next we have for this year, we have these new footrests. Now these footrests are attached just at the front here like so, okay? Our thigh straps, there's a subtle change in the thigh straps here. They fit phenomenally well. I'm so happy. These are very, very comfortable fitting thigh straps for this year. Now the biggest innovation in the Mage is this floor system. So we have a lace-in seat here, which you can see how to install that in one of our other videos, the standard foam backband, but then what we have here, the real magic is happening in the floor, and that's gonna be providing us with this hull shape that we have here. So we're actually having, instead of a flat hull, like was happening in the Wolverine and the Narwhal, we have an actual hull shape here, a rounded hull. Now that's giving us a lot more speed, a very, very good primary edge. Now, I'm finding I'm really enjoying that. The primary edge on the Mage is really, really predictable. It's consistent all the way through, especially on the Self-Bailer, and then you can really feel where the secondary edge starts to engage before you flip. You know, so this is some of the things we've learned from the Valkyrie and brought through. Overall, great paddling boat, extremely predictable, guaranteed you're gonna have a lot of fun, learn some new skills, and push the limits of your pack rafting. Okay, so is the Alpacka Raft Mage for you? That's a really, really good question. So if you've been paddling the narwhal now for a couple of seasons, or some other pack rafts that have had that stability, you already know how to paddle, how to read the river, then you want to step up a little bit more in performance, then you definitely want to be considering the Mage. Yeah, it's a great step up. However, if you are a pretty good basic, like you pick up skills really quickly and you're a bit of an athlete, you might want to consider the Mage as your first boat, okay? And there are a few tips and tricks that we're going to show you on how you can soften the Mage a little bit and make it a little bit more beginner friendly if this is the first time you want to paddle this boat, and give it a go. That way you got plenty of performance to grow into. Either way, the Mage has become my all-time favorite pack raft. It's the boat we have been waiting for, especially this Self-Bailer. Self-Bailers, as you all know, I absolutely love Self-Bailers. We're going to go into a little bit more about why Self-Bailers are such a great pack raft in a bit. So, Self-Bailer or Whitewater Deck, which one is right for you? Let's start with the similarities between the two. Our tube diameter is identical on both boats. Hull shape, rocker profile, outline, that's identical. We do have some differences in the floor. Now it's a little bit hard to see here. Obviously the Self-Bailer is going to have some holes in it with these flaps, okay? But there is a little bit more of a hull shape going on in the Whitewater Deck version than there is with the Self-Bailer. Hopefully you can see that there on the camera. It's just a little bit more hull here, a little bit less hull here, okay? Now, if we take a look at the Self-Bailer here as well, we'll see new for this year, we've got these Venturi flaps with a bit of mesh on here. So when the water's flowing over these run nice and flat so you don't have any resistance, but they still allow the water to bail out. So, Whitewater Deck, Self-Bailer. Which one is best for you? So let's look at the Whitewater Deck first. The Whitewater Deck, you are going to notice, well, not everybody can notice this, but an advanced paddler will notice that you do get a little bit quicker acceleration out of the Whitewater Deck, and you do get a little bit more top end speed, although we are going to put that to the test later on in one of our other videos when we compare the speeds of these two boats back to head to head. The biggest priority and the biggest thing that you're going to get with a Whitewater Deck is going to be warmth, yeah? Now, if you're paddling whitewater or you're out on an expedition, you should be wearing a high quality dry suit anyway, and plenty of layers to make sure that you stay nice and warm. Remember, we want to dress to swim, not dress to the outside temperature. So you are going to get a warmer feel here with a spray deck on, and obviously a little bit drier, warmer. That's about it, okay? Slightly faster. Self-Bailer. This is where my favorite here, I mean, really, you know, and I do a lot of kayaking as well, sea kayaking, whitewater kayaking. In a kayak, you need to wear a spray skirt. That's simple, because if the water comes into the boat sinks, okay? So we need to wear a spray skirt for kayaking. That totally makes sense. However, with a pack raft, we have a large, buoyant object. I mean, this thing just wants to float, yeah? So do we really need a spray deck? Anybody coming from traditional kayaking is going to say, yeah, I want a spray deck. I feel naked without my skirt. However, I'm going to argue that the Self-Bailer is by far the superior choice. It's a little bit colder, for sure. So if you're in those extreme Arctic environments, it's below zero, you're paddling, there's ice and there's snow on the side of the river, or it's a long day or a long expedition in Scandinavia or Alaska, you may want to consider a Whitewater Deck version just for the warmth. For anywhere else though, I'm going to argue Self-Bailer is the way forward. So what have we got? We've got easy, in and out, bam. No worries at all. You're on the river, self-rescues, getting in and in, getting out, super, super easy. As a rescue boat as well, if you ever want to stop, you know, you can easily get in and out of the boat, onto the side and back in and keep paddling again. You know, when we run courses at Packraft Europe, beginner courses, intermediate courses, I don't let, even if people rock up with a Whitewater Deck boat, I don't let them wear their spray skirt. And the fact of the matter is simple, because I have to wait for them every single time to put a spray deck on and off and empty their boat throughout the day. This ends up being half an hour to 45 minutes of lost time during a day worth of classes. That's half an hour to 45 minutes getting in and out of your boat that could have been used on learning new techniques and new skills. Admittedly, when you're running a course with us, you will be in and out of your boat. you will be pushing your limits. You will be capsizing and flipping a lot more, okay, than what we normally would be. So overall, my opinion, Self-Bailer is the way forward. All right, so now you need to make a choice. Is it the Valkyrie, the Mage, or the Narwhal? Okay, so let's have a look at these boats. The Valkyrie, Whitewater Deck only. Yeah, it's by far the fastest single person packraft that Alpacka Raft makes. Okay, and that's on flat water or in moving water. It is designed as the kayaker's packraft. Okay, so it's a fast boat that you can paddle up to class 5 if your skills allow for that. And you're definitely going to notice the performance of the Valkyrie. Great boat, I love it. It's comparable to a modern creek boat, a modern hard shell plastic kayaking creek boat. It's a great boat. Very fast on flat water also though, but don't be surprised by the performance of it. I have put intermediate paddlers into the Valkyrie and they're still able to paddle it and they're still able to grow in it and learn their paddling strokes and develop better as a paddler. You can even put beginner paddlers into it. Now think about this, yeah? A Valkyrie is about this wide, a whitewater kayak is about this wide, yeah? There are beginners that learn straight away in a whitewater kayak. So if a beginner can learn straight away in a whitewater kayak, there's no reason why a beginner can't jump in a Valkyrie. Just think about that one, yeah? You obviously want to make sure you get professional instruction first. One of the key things with the Valkyrie though, you're gonna want to learn how to roll pretty quickly because that's gonna be your combat roll, the same as in kayaking. Your combat roll is gonna give you that confidence when you're in moving water or you're around, you know you can get back up if you're upside down. If you're gonna learn the combat roll, first you wanna learn how to roll in a kayak to get the basic skills down, and then we move on to a pack raft. If you'd like some more information about that, check out our rolling clinics that we do on teaching people how to roll a kayak first and then how to roll a pack raft. The Mage. The Mage is this Goldilocks zone. This really is the Ferrari sports car and at the same time, you know, the all-terrain vehicle. It can do a bit of everything. It's a phenomenal boat. It has the performance you need. So if you're an experienced paddler and you want to paddle that class 4, you can do it in the Mage. If you're a beginner paddler and you want to learn and get some good techniques, yeah, you can do it in the Mage. And we're going to show you some setup that you can do here later on so that you can get the most out of that as a beginner to just make the boat a little bit more stable for you. Then we move on to the Narwhal. Now the Narwhal is that super stable. It's got a flat hull shape. It's going to be super stable for beginners. Very, very easy. I used to joke that I could stick my 60-year-old mother in a Narwhal and take her down a class 3 rapid. And that's pretty accurate, you know, as long as the person stays more or less upright, paddles where they want to go, you know, and it's not too technical and too rough, it's a very, very stable boat. So if you want the ultimate in stability and load carrying, weight carrying ability because you want to go on a massive expedition, the Narwhal might be the boat for you. All right, let's talk about fabric choice. So this year at Packraft Europe, we've made a decision to bring in and have in stock the 210 denier Solstice version. That's the colorway that you can see here. And the reason we've done that is because with the floor, we're actually getting added stiffness in the boat. So the 420 is not really necessary. For those that do want the 420 though, as it is a stiffer fabric and a more durable fabric, which does translate to better whitewater performance, you can still order that on our webpage as a built-to-order option, and we'll get Alpackaraft to hand make that boat for you and ship it over for you. All right, let's talk about boat weights for a second, yeah? So we have the large Narwhal Self-Bailer in 210 denier fabric. That's gonna weigh 3,630 grams. Next, we have the large Self-Bailer Mage, 3,980 grams. The large Whitewater Deck Mage, 4,430 grams. So we have another almost 500, it's 450, almost 500 grams heavier for the Whitewater Decked version. Now, if you want to get either of these in the 420, that's going to be another 560 grams of weight for the 420. So these are things that we want to think about. And comparing that to the Valkyrie, as we know, the Valkyrie comes in at 6.3, so 6,300 grams. So something to think about there when you are choosing your pack raft, because if we are gonna do those roadside trips, it doesn't matter so much, but if we're gonna be doing some multi-day trips, we wanna keep that weight as low as we possibly can. Another reason why self-bailers are the way to go.
Nice and clean.
Here we go. Wow. Funnily enough, Self-Bailer is easier to roll than the Whitewater Deck boat. Who would have thought? Let's try that one again. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Self-Bailer is easier to roll than the Whitewater Deck version. Yeah, I'm really loving this Self-Bailer. I really think Alpacka Raft has done an amazing job with this boat. This is probably, without a doubt, actually it is, without a doubt, the best Self-Bailer that has ever been produced, that I've ever paddled. This thing is absolutely amazing. If you're into Self-Bailers, this is the boat we've all been waiting for. Yeah, this thing will take you from class 3 to class 4, or if you're a beginner paddler as well and you want a little bit more of a challenge, this is the boat for you. Come check it out. Get one for yourself. Come to the European Packrafting meetup if you want a demo one. You're gonna love it. The Alpacka Mage, an amazing boat. All right, so that was the Whitewater Deck Mage and the Self-Bailer Mage head to head then. So we ran a couple of the rapids, the same rapids. Here are my thoughts. The Whitewater Deck boat definitely feels a little bit slipperier. So a little bit, maybe a touch faster acceleration. And maybe a little bit more speed. That's a little bit hard to tell. But one thing that really is noticeable is the way that these boats, the primary edge on the two of them, the Self-Bailer and the Whitewater Deck, they feel like very, very different boats. So I would say that if I was going to explain this, is the Self-Bailer feels like it's really consistent in that primary edge as you go from edge to edge. Very consistent, really predictable. The Whitewater Deck, though, is a little bit quicker from edge to edge, and that makes it a little bit less predictable. But as soon as you start paddling this a couple of times, if you decide you want to get a Whitewater Deck boat, you start paddling this a few times, you'll get used to how it paddles for you. Same thing with the Self-Bailer version. Now, we've tested both of these boats today with no weight on the inside at all. So these are empty boats today. They've been tested empty, and this is how they perform. Great boats, loving both of them. Yeah, if you want some more information, check out the description below or get in touch with one of our pack rafters from Packraft Europe. We're happy to help find the right boat for you. All right, so you remember at the beginning of this video, I promised you some tips on how to set up your Mage. If you want maximum performance, maximum speed, then go with the hull here, nice and inflated, get it nice and hard. If you're finding the boat's a little bit too unstable for you and you'd like to get a lot more stable, let out some air here. Yeah, deflate this. You can deflate it as much as 50%, maybe even 60 or 70%. That's gonna flatten out the hull shape. It's gonna make it more stable for you. Also, the height of your seat, yeah, look at this. There's not a lot of air I've got in that at the moment, and I probably even wanna put a little bit less air in that. That's how I'm paddling with this. If you want to have the seat nice and hard, the floor nice and hard, and the seat nice and hard, that's going to put your center of gravity really high. That may work for some of you. If you want to be sitting lower, put less air in the seat. And then if you want to make the boat even more stable, put less air in the floor. Yeah. Now, obviously, as you start to load the boat with more weight for those expeditions, we're going to want to make sure we get maximum buoyancy. That's when we're going to want to make sure we've got that floor fully inflated, the hull fully inflated, but we tailor make that seat to whatever the best fit for us is, yeah? Cool. If you'd like any more information about how to set up your Mage and get the most out of it, contact one of our team at Packraft Europe. We're here to help you and make sure you get the right boat for you. So when we're talking about that primary and that secondary edge, this here is our primary edge, yeah? Goes this all the way over, and that secondary edge is just at the point where you're about to flip, yeah? So primary edge, really predictable here, and then it eases into that secondary edge. Woo! And that secondary edge is right there where you're about to flip. And that's what's so great about the Valkyrie and now the Mage. These primary and secondary edge are super predictable. You can really rely on where that boat is, getting it nice and high on edge. All right, how far can we go? It's a long day.
Long day.
All right, that's a wrap.